wisdom, prajna, is compared to the refining fire, which melts the ore, and you take out the gold. Now, what do we achieve with the wisdom? Well, wisdom, with wisdom, you reach nirvana. Paramita, the other side of the river, where there's happiness, sukha. This side is called dukkha, pain, dissatisfaction, suffering, and so on. So without wisdom, we can never reach the other side of the river, you know? So, with the wisdom, prajna wisdom, the prajna wisdom will shine in your mind if you are lucky, so that in certain adverse conditions or trying situations, which is very critical, only if you have the light of the wisdom shining, you can steer yourself away from the dangers. And if you don't have the wisdom there, then of course it's like there's a white stuff which looks like a sugar, and you are used to the sugar white things, you may simply take it, which turns out to be like a cyanide or some, you know, poison. Many people just do that in the world. So, wisdom is that important. So, the Buddhism is the religion of wisdom, you can say. But remember, wisdom is a means, certain tools, or even like a refining fire with which you can melt down. And if you have the wisdom, prajna, in your mind, it can easily melt down all those anger and grudge and especially stupidity and so on. So that's so important. In the second line on the top, you see, brighten your mind as bright as the sun and the moon. This simply means you must have the light of wisdom, with which, what are you going to do with the wisdom? Wisdom is not for its own sake. Wisdom is a means or a tool with which you can drive out, melt all those dark clouds in the mind. Okay? So what does WonBuddhism teach for you to attain the great power? Answer. It is in the scripture of WonBuddhism, part 2, chapter 1, section 3, practice of Ironsang. Ironsang is the circle in Korean. Practice of Ironsang doesn't mean you practice the circle, or can you do the circle. This circle refers to your original Buddha nature. Are you with me? So practice of Ironsang goes like this. You have to be enlightened to the truth this circle refers to. Okay? And once you are enlightened to the truth this circle Ironsang refers to, then you'll have prajna wisdom shining. Until you are enlightened to the truth, you are not going to have this light of wisdom. Okay? Now, what is the truth of Ironsang? It says this. You know, there is such a thing as the ultimate reality, inherent essence, substance of all things in the universe. Okay? That's the first one. Then what is it? In Sanskrit, it's called the Dharmata. Dharmata. But what is it? Is it a material thing or a spiritual thing? What is it? And Buddhist, different schools give different answers in Buddhism. One is this emptiness. Emptiness in this case is not mere nothingness. Rather, it is a true emptiness. What is the meaning of a true emptiness? I said it many times. Anything in space and time is like what? Anybody remember? Yes, borrowed money. Borrowed money truly empty. Why? Why not just empty? It's a truly empty because it is marvelous existence. At the same time, it is a wondrous existence because it is there. You can see $10,000 in your bank account. Oh, not much, $100,000. Then you can go out to buy Mercedes-Benz S550. Can you buy? Yeah. So you see, even though it's a borrowed money, you can buy it. All of the things in the world has this characteristics. On the one hand, it is truly empty because it's not yours, you borrowed it. You know, this is my own analogy. I think everybody is going to agree with me, all the Buddhist scholars. Borrowed money, according to Buddha's teaching, nothing in the space has its own inherent essence. They are just empty of its own intrinsic nature, reality. Then why do they exist there? Because by the law of dependent originations, they come into being by the causes and the conditions. Okay? And if the cause and conditions are removed, this thing does not exist. That's the original teaching of the Buddha. Okay? So, everything in space and time. Now, in one Buddhist school calls it, in Asanga Vaspanta's, what's called the Vijñāpti-Matrata, consciousness-only school, they think it is ultimate reality of the universe is consciousness. Well, that is argued against by many Buddhist philosophers, and I don't care about that. The only thing I'm concerned is, what about my body? We just read in the Hatha Sutra, form there, rupa, is our body. Body is identical with emptiness. What do they mean? This is not empty. If I pinch, I feel pain. You see? But it says it's empty. But it's truly empty because I've got this from the air, water, and the fire, earth, and so on. From the very beginning, I got it from my parents. Little thing, you know, and grew. And I look like something big, but it is ultimately empty of its own inherent existence. That means I will die eventually. Sometimes I hope that I can live forever. Sometimes when I become stupid, you know. Would you continue 1,000 years paying taxes and seeing all those ugly things in the world? And bad neighbors sometimes? I'm sorry. And sometimes mugged, and you know. And here all those, look, the whole world is war now. We just don't know when there could be another 9/11. You know what I mean? Oh, and every year I live 1 year at a time because of the hurricane threat. You know, we are very lucky, you know, this year. But anyway, the point is, this self is unreal. That's the first thing the Buddha taught. Anatta. Atman, anatta, no self. So in the Hatha Sutra we just read, form and the mental state called nama, rupa, nama. Under nama there are four things: sensations, feelings, perceptions, conceptions, mental functions, volitions. Under the mental function there are 49 ramified elements of your psychological state in the early Buddhism, you know. And then consciousness. Take these five elements away from your life. What is left? Nothing. And yet, there is the karma force you create, which will be powerful enough to move to your next life. That's what the Buddha taught, you know. And this will be proven by science. Look, you have iPhone, right? These days I talk about iPhone, not the cell phone. iPhone is a wonderful thing. I can see here, and I can send a message to somebody in South Africa. Less than what? 1,000th of a second fast. Are you with me? When did they record it? There, you know. George, I think this will be proven eventually. So the mystery of the whole world will be solved.